So when I was younger, first dates were my worst nightmare, basically because I had no idea what to do. And it's not like I hated being on dates. I like talking to girls, but I would much rather prefer to talk to a girl in a bar or a club and try to take her home, or meet a girl during the day instead of going on a date, because I just didn't know what to do on first dates. So it was kind of, I'd interact with women on a first date and I felt like what to do next. I'm just sitting here, I'm just chilling, I'm talking. What's the goal? What's the point of this? Fast forward to 8 years later, after going on, I don't know, maybe 200, 300 first dates, maybe more, then I finally figured out exactly how to run first dates. And I've known this for a long time and I've taught it for a while, but I thought I'd make an updated, proper training on how to actually run your first dates correctly. This is kind of great for beginners, or it's great also if you're advanced with women and your strength is not necessarily first dates, but you're really good at taking girls home or inviting girls to your place, but you just want to brush up on how to properly run a first date where you and the girl have a great experience and you end up going home with her, which is a principle that we're going to talk about here. It's something a lot of guys don't understand. So how do you actually run first dates properly? There's a couple common mistakes that I've identified that most men tend to make, and I'm going to share those mistakes with you. Mistake number one is overthinking everything. Most guys tend to overthink things on dates. We think, what do I have to say? How do I have to look? Do I hug her? Do I not hug her? Who sits where? Does she get a drink? Do I have to pay for it at the end? How do I bring that up without being too needy? If she's going to go back to my place, when do I bring that up? We're going to clear up all of that here, by the way. I'm going to explain all of that here. And I'll tell you one more thing as well. I'm doing it just for this video. I normally respond to all the comments, but I really want to push you on this video. Down below, I'm going to be doing kind of a masterclass in the comments on first dates. So every single question you ask about first dates, anything you ask, I'm going to answer in detail. So right now, if you really want free consulting on how to run first dates in a way that feels really good for the girl, in a way that feels super effortless for you, where everyone gets along and you end up going home with her actually, and it's this amazing intimate experience, right down below, and I'm going to explain to you how you can do this. I'll answer all your questions in the comments. The first mistake most men make, like I said, is overthinking everything. We overthink everything on first dates. How do I do? How do I act? How do I touch? Do I get physical? Do I not? One of the principles that I teach in our mastermind is minimalism is the most efficient way to connect with women. Minimalism basically means that you remove all the overthinking, you remove the over analysis of what do I do, how do I act, and instead you just be. Now, it's hard to do this if you're not attractive. It's hard to do this if you have no experience with women, which is why one of the things I tell you is to be experienced with women and put yourself out there. But you don't want to overthink things. You want to keep things very, very minimalist. Number two, another mistake I see a lot of guys make on first dates is they play it super safe by not being sexual or intentful. Now, a thing you have to understand is that, and I'm going to explain this more later, but sleeping with a girl on a first date is not a bad thing. Sleeping with a girl on a first date is also not something that should be, wow, it's crazy that happened. It should be normal that if you're on a date with a girl, it's okay for you guys to move towards intimacy. That should be a normal thing, and a lot of guys don't have this. So this is a mistake a lot of men make. They play it very safe by being more friendly, building a lot of comfort with the girl, making her feel comfort, which is, you want her girls to be comfortable, of course, but they do too much of this and they're not being sexual or not being intentful, which is what you don't want to have. And then the third mistake I see a lot of men make is going to dinner. This is the big one. I just finished a call with a really cool guy who's fucking awesome. And if you're watching this, you know exactly who you are. We just had an amazing call. We just got connected over Instagram, and he talked a lot about how he goes to dinner with girls. Going to dinner with women is a very bad idea for a first date because it cancels out the idea of intimacy. When you eat, you physically are priming yourself to be in a vulnerable state where you do not want to be sexually intimate. So do not take girls to dinner on the first date unless you're trying to specifically do long-term dating and get into a relationship with the girl almost before you sleep with her. No joke. It's just not good to do that. Don't go to dinner. So let's go into the steps to having good first dates. But before we go into there, I want to tell you something. If you think that this training makes sense and you're like, hey, I think I'm going to learn from this. And you know what, Tim? You are a guide. You are a light in a world of darkness and hopelessness. And you're going to help lead me out of the matrix when it comes to dating and when it comes to creating relationships. There's one thing you can do that's going to help you even more than just watching my stupid fucking face. You know what that is? You can press the subscribe button. Press the red subscribe button below, and it's a commitment to yourself to learn more from me on this channel. It's completely free, but it does take your time. Time is money, so maybe it's not free. But you press the red subscribe button, click it, and you're going to know when I'm uploading new things and new videos are coming in, and you're going to invest in yourself just by that small action, that small commitment. Okay, let's continue. So here's the big mindset I want you to understand. Before we go into all the steps, here's the first thing you have to understand, and this is the most important thing that a lot of men miss. The big mindset is You have to learn to get to intimacy sooner rather than later, because this is how you deeply connect with a woman, okay? This is her investment in you. There's this big misconception a lot of people have. Men have this misconception, and women understandably have this misconception, but we're not going to fault them for having this, because they're not necessarily prioritizing intimacy quickly. Women have a different mating strategy. Read Dr. David Buss if you're curious about what I'm talking about. So women's mating strategy is different. But as a man, here's an example. What you're doing in a long-term relationship is you're providing her with value and protection. This is just like our historical ancestors, okay? Our pre-evolutionary ancestors. I think that's what the word is that Dr. David Buss uses. There's a word he uses that's very technical, but I forgot what it's called. Prehistoric ancestors, something like that. So you're basically investing in this woman by giving her value. You're investing in her by giving her resources, protection, all those kind of things. Nowadays, of course, that has less value. Watch my video on the dating recession. It'll help you understand this more. But nowadays, your protection has less value, but the mechanisms psychologically are still there. That hasn't gone away. That hasn't changed. So what she wants from you, I'll give you an example of this. Women who earn more money want men who earn more money than them, as an example, right? So you are still providing for her. A woman who earns a six-figure salary wants a guy who can bring her into better experiences than she can have herself. She still wants this. It doesn't go away just because the girl makes money. So all the guys who are saying, yeah, girls make money now, they don't need cash and stuff. That's not true. Your role is always going to be provider in a long-term relationship. That's what women want, unless you find a woman who doesn't want that, and then she is not the norm. That's an anomaly. So women want this. What are you getting from her? She is someone who is going to bear your children. That's what's going to happen. She's going to bear your seed, and she is going to carry your child within her womb after you insert yourself in her and come in this woman. That's what's literally going to happen. That's the exchange that's going on long term, okay? What dating is it's a simulation of this exchange, a very short, brief simulation, so that she can see and you can see, are you guys compatible for long term? Now, even in short-term dating, the same dynamic still applies. So let's say a girl hooks up with you and comes over to your place from Tinder. If that girl is not necessarily damaged, like let's say she's got a very good history with her father and she, has a dad in her life, she's experienced good things in life, and she's aware of herself as a person, she's not, deep in her head and attached to her pain body, that girl still is more likely going to sleep with you or feel bought into you and invested in you if you guys go to a really nice bar, you pay for dinner, not dinner, you pay for drinks, a few cocktails, you head back to yours, and you have a nice place, not the biggest apartment in the world, but you've got a nice apartment with a nice little view, your place looks cool, looks like you got a job, like you can spend some money on things, you dress well. Those are all indicators that you're a man who has value and who can provide that value to her in the long term. Even if it's a hookup, those things are still attractive to women. That's very attractive to her, right? So that means even in short-term dating, these principles are still important. So you don't just abandon them. So now the question becomes, what's her investment in you? It's giving you sex. It's intimacy. It's her investing in you, saying, I'm going to simulate you being able to give me your children. We're going to play that game together. Even if we use protection, even if it's not really happening, we're still giving each other these indicators of our own unique respective value for each other. Does that make sense? Okay, that's what's going on. So now, what most guys fuck up on, what they make the mistake of thinking with dates, is that the first 3 dates, I'm not even going to get there with her. I'm going to take her out, spend money on her, show her what my value is, and then if I'm lucky, I'll get laid. And then we get into a relationship, maybe, and I'll be happy with that. What a man who's in abundance does is he says, no, you're going to invest in me first. I'm going to, of course, invest in you to some extent. I'll show you some of these markers. I'll pay for drinks. I'm going to look really cool. I'll take you on a cool experience. Maybe, hey, I'll pay for us to go to one of the best rooftop bars in the city, things like that. We're not going to go on a deeply romantic dinner because, again, that's just not smart psychologically. Okay, but I'm going to invest in you to some extent and just show you my value as a man. What's her contribution? Let's have some good sex. I'm going to invest in you because, let's be real, no matter how good you are with women, no matter how attractive you become, you're always going to be to some extent chasing girls, unless you have crazy high status. And then even then, the most quality women that are relatively at your level will still not just chase you. You'll have to put in work. You'll have to take them out. Things like that's going to happen, right? So generally what's going to happen as a man at any level, no matter how attractive you are, you sleeping with a girl means you've done something to get that, right? Her fucking you is her giving you something. No matter what we say, no matter how red pill you are, or like how high your value is, a woman fucking you is you just won a thing. She didn't win anything really by fucking you necessarily. She wins something if you invest in her and date her. That's when she wins, right? If you're a high value man. Okay, so what's going to happen is the best way to approach this is you're going to invest in me first, or alongside me by sleeping with me, giving up your ability to what you protect the most, which is your sexuality as a woman. You're going to let me experience that, and then we'll go from there. Okay. So that's why I emphasize to my clients, sleep with girls on first dates. It's okay to do that. You can have sex with a girl on a first date and you don't need to shy away from it. It's not something that's weird. It's not something that should be even rare. You should normally have sex with girls on first dates. Now, this does not mean that it has to happen on a first date. There's many girls that it's taken me 2 or 3 dates to sleep with, even in the last couple years when I've been very good with women. However, that's more so because of the dynamic of what progressed in the date, not necessarily because I wanted that to happen. It was more so just, oh, she's just the kind of girl that actually we're not going to sleep together tonight. That's not the vibe. I really like getting to know her. Maybe I have to get up super early, or I'm hanging out with buddies tonight and going out and partying. I'm not inviting her back to mine. We'll do this again another day, right? That's generally how that happens. Okay, let's get into steps to actually have great first dates. If you're still with me after this long rant, I appreciate you. Thank you for listening. So, subscribe. Number 1, set up the date logistically near your place. This is one of the first steps that I give to clients in our mastermind program. It's called LMC. We give guys this step. It's really important. Set up the date logistically near your place. And if you don't have your own place, or you don't have a place you can take girls to, get a place. Simple as that. But set it up logistically near your place. So if you live, let's say, on 5th Street, you should know a bar near 5th Street. That's a really cool bar where you can bring girls to for dates. You can even go to the same place every time. The bartender should know you. But I'm telling you how this should work. The bartender should be like, oh, John. Oh, Chris. Oh, Tim. Hey, another girl with you, wink, wink, right? They should know this. It should be a place that's near your spot so that going from there to your place is relatively simple. If the girl lives far away, tell her to come down to where you are, or maybe meet her in the middle, worst case. But you don't want to be way out of your element going to girls' areas and things like that. Don't do that. Number 2, greet the girl physically and openly. So I will start off my date always giving the girl a big hug. I'll just open my arms, not like, hey, how are you? Handshake and pull her in. Nope, just like, hey, good to see you. Embrace her, wrap your arms around her fully, hug her, hold her for 1 second, good to see you. And then, that's it. So greet her openly and physically. This establishes, I'm not afraid to be close to you. I'm not afraid to break this physical barrier of touch. Where a lot of guys start the date fucking wrong by giving her like a high. Dude, I've seen a guy. Literally, we were doing a infield program, and he had a date actually, and I said, fuck it, bro, because he invested thousands in this program. So I wanted to give him the most premium experience. So I said, bro, I'm gonna literally watch your date from afar, and I had him wear like some AirPods, at the time he wasn't wearing AirPods, but he had headphones, and I listened into the date. I kid you not, this man started the date with like a high five. He was like, hey, like that. And he eventually actually got way better with women, actually helped me on a few programs, coaching, but it took a year for him to get there, but he got way better. But he started off from that place. You don't want to be doing that with girls. Give them a hug. Number 3, relax your body language. I can't stress this enough. Deep relaxation. What I do when I'm on dates, I lean back, I sit back, and I take up space. So imagine this is where I'm sitting. I'm sitting back like this. My arm might be stretched out a little bit, right? I'm not worried to take up space. I'm not worried to lean back and to relax into my body, whereas a lot of men don't do this. A lot of men don't like taking up space. A lot of men, they're kind of bottled up inside. You don't want to do this. You want to lean back. You want to physically take up space. Be physically relaxed. Pretend almost like you're tired. The way I act on dates, like the way I appear on dates, is if I'm almost bored being there. You want to seem like you have not a care in the world. Everything is easy. Everything is effortless. Everything just flows. Okay? Number 4, tell high value stories. This is huge. Now, if you don't know how to tell high value stories, or like this is an old dating principle called demonstrating high value, or DHVing. It's one of the old PUA pickup type principles that I do believe actually is very relevant nowadays. But you want to tell high value stories. You want to speak from a place of value. So as an example, I'll tell women about how I built a business. I'll tell them how I used to be broke as fuck and how I found a passion, which was understanding social dynamics and human dynamics, how I got some mentors, people like the guys from RSD, some business mentors, some personal coaches, how I invested in myself a lot. And I went on this crazy journey of eventually being able to earn lots of money doing something that I love, right? So tell those kind of stories, but you have to put them into perspective. You need to learn how to communicate high value stories the right way. So if right now you're communicating with women and you're just talking about the weather or talking about your job and what you do for work and talking about her travel stories and asking her about family, none of that's high value. I tell women how I see the world. I tell them things that are valuable about me. If you want to learn more about telling high value stories and becoming a man of value, hey, I'm going to say this. There's one more step here. Don't you fucking leave, because there's one more step and it's going to be fucking crazy. But what I want to tell you is what we do is we have a year-long mastermind program. And basically in this program, we have 3 modalities we focus on, which is communication skills, learning attraction skills, how you can be more highly attractive as a man, and then communicating your value the right way. So building up yourself as a high value man and using all of this in one perfect package to attract amazing women and build the exact kind of lifestyle that you want. If it sounds like this is something for you where you don't want to spend years and years failing with women and failing with social experiences trying to get there, and you just want it to happen way faster, look into joining this program if you'd be a good fit for it. We have what we call a 90-day results window, where the goal is to get you literally life-changing results within 90 days. And there's guys in the program who've already gotten results, and they've only been in the program for 45 days, give or take. And they literally just joined, and they're getting results. So if you want to have this massive transformation very quickly, and you don't want to wait years and years and waste time with shitty relationships and girls that are going to like fuck you over and ruin your life, which a lot of men do have, if you don't want that to happen, go down below and there's a training I made breaking down 4 steps of how I created this lifestyle for myself and how my clients create this as well. Or you can directly book a call with me and skip the training and just book a call with me, and we can talk and see if you'd be a good fit for this program and if I'd be a good fit to work with you. Okay, let's go ahead and go to the final step, number 5, which is move it to your place. Keep it short and sweet. I tell girls all the time, this is what I say on the date. At the beginning, I usually say, hey, if the vibe is good, we can go back to where I stay and we can split a bottle of wine if we like each other. We'll drink here for a bit, and then we can go back there. The girl always says, okay, sounds good. And then it happens or it doesn't happen. And later on in the date, after our first round, I'll say, how much do you like wine? Or do you like wine? Do you like cocktails? She'll say, yeah. I'll say, how about we go back to where I stay? And I don't like saying go back to my apartment. Go back to where I stay. I actually got a decent view, and we can talk about life and drink more wine instead of being in this bar. Right? I'll just own it fully. I have no witty special lines, but I'll just own it and say that. You don't want to say, hey, want to come back to my house? You don't want to ask her that, but you want to present it as an idea. Like, hey, how about we do this thing? Or, hey, I think I want to go back to mine and crack open a bottle of wine. You should join. That's another way you could say this. All right? And if she says no, you just pull it back with something we call 2 steps forward, 1 step back. You back up, vibe a bit, chill, maybe even ask her why. We go very deep into this again in our program, but ask her why as well. Figure out how come, and then have maybe another round of drinks and then go again later. And usually it will happen. The girl will be down if you're doing everything else in the date correctly. But that's how you want to do this. You want to run the date very simply. Dating is not complicated. The goal is just make sure it's near your place. Be very physical at the beginning. Not very, but be physical at the beginning. Establish with a hug. Number 3 is relax your body language. Be chill and calm. You don't want to be high energy and too intense and too into her on the date physically. And then number 4 is tell stories that have value. Speak about your experiences and share them with her. See how she relates to those experiences. And then number 5, head to your place. At a certain point, you want to be at your place. You want to keep it short and sweet. You don't want to be in a dating location for 2 hours before going to your place. Generally, I'm at a spot with a girl for 45 minutes to an hour maximum, and then we're bouncing out to my place. Maybe sometimes an hour and a half, but you don't want to be doing 3 hours in a bar. That shouldn't happen. You want to tell her, hey, let's go back to mine and vibe. And then sometimes she'll even say, yeah, well, I don't know you. Why would I go to your place? And I say, because my place is way cooler than being in this stupid fucking bar and spending more money here. Right? Sometimes I'll say that. I'll just be very sarcastic because I'm like that. Hopefully this makes sense. Okay? You guys are awesome. Good luck with first dates. Don't forget I'm doing comment coaching down below. So if you'd like free coaching from me on your first date, so you want to crush it, bro, comment below and I'm going to give you some feedback on this. Okay? Be blessed today. Have an amazing fucking day. Get some first dates so you can actually use this training. Don't just watch it for fun. Like, go on, get some first dates. And if you're not getting as many dates as you should be getting and you are able to invest in yourself, hey, click the links below and maybe we'll do some work together and get you there way faster. Okay, be blessed today. Talk to you later.